Good morning. You're very welcome. So take a comfortable seat, either on your mat or sitting on a chair. Be comfortable, be warm. So sometimes throwing a blanket over you can be a lovely way to cocoon yourself, popular word, as we settle into our practice this morning. So when you're ready, we'll close the eyes. So this is a very basic way of beginning a practice, closing the eyes. And what it does is it begins to automatically bring the attention inward. So you notice as the eyes close, form disappears. And our practice is really it's a dance between those two lives that we live. And one is in the world of form, and one is in the world of what is formless. Words are kind of blundering in trying to describe this. But so much of our experience in this modern world is in the exterior world, isn't it? It's doing all the things that we do. And this is the part of our lives that is continually shifting and changing. And we're experiencing that particularly at this moment when they're changing in ways that we're really not used to. And we have these nervous systems that in one part of them are always looking for a sense of safety, a sense of what isn't changing, what is in essence eternal, anchored. So part of what we do in our struggle in this world is we're looking for what anchors us in what is continually shifting and changing, which has a bit of futility to it. Now, this idea of this formless nature, this unseen quality, in terms of what we're doing, is the part we're learning to have a sense of, to tune into, to arrive to an understanding or a feeling of. So the closing of the eyes is the first step in kind of dropping into that place that is not form. The first step in exploring that quality or aspect of our nature. And ultimately, and maybe this is part of why what's happening is happening in the world at the moment, but ultimately in terms of our evolution as humans, my belief is that we will be asked or pushed into experiencing this dimension of what we are, this unseen, formless dimension. And although it creates particular challenges for us to begin to turn toward this space or access this space, ultimately, this place, knowing this place and feeling this place and connecting to this place is where our deepest sense of unshakable safety arises from. So you could talk about ideas of the divine or the eternal or the formless, or as you practice, and the practice is in a sense, it's just pausing. It's pausing a lot of the stuff that distracts us, pausing our habits, pausing the ways in which we, in our day-to-day experience ourselves, the world. And as we consciously begin to quieten our systems, we're just observing what's there. We're just noticing. So it's an opportunity to, in one sense, begin to open some sort of internal door. Now, whether we open the door or don't open the door, it's always there. Whether we have a practice that allows us to experience this or we don't bother and we just keep going in the exterior, It's always there. In one sense, nothing can be added or taken away that will change that. But then when things do get shaky in the external experience, and that's creating a vibration or a knock-on effect in our internal experience, then there's the question or the invitation: do we do something about that? What can we do about that? How do we find something that is more centered for us, or grounded for us, or supportive for us? And that really is what we're doing here. Okay, so we're going to begin with 10 deep breaths. You can breathe either through the nose or the mouth, whatever is the most comfortable. The inhalation goes from your belly all the way up into the chest. And the exhalation is just very simple and easy. Okay, so we'll do 10 of those deep breaths, and then we'll pause in the end. So deep inhalation. And after your 10th exhalation, come back to your natural breath, and you just observe. You notice the feeling in the body, maybe a sense of being lightheaded or dizzy. That's all perfectly natural and normal. And you just watch, you feel. And we'll go again, 10 more, 10 deep breaths. Deep, 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 deep breaths. And again, you come back to your natural breath. Just notice how you're feeling. Okay, we'll go for one final round. Now, at the end of your 10th exhalation this time, we won't inhale. We're going to pause without inhaling, just for as long as it feels comfortable. Okay? So 10 deep breaths. So whenever you need to begin to breathe, you just come back to your natural breath. And what we're doing is just sitting here, breathing. And whatever else you meet is whatever else you meet. And invariably, when we're doing practices that are concerned with our growth, that are supporting our growth, and we're talking about growth in terms of our ability to access greater states of well-being, greater states of calm, greater states of peace, greater states of presence, we will invariably meet some sort of resistance, some way in which discomfort will voice itself through us. So I encourage you, as those feelings, sensations, thoughts arise, you simply internally smile at them, you let them come, and you let them go. And maybe they'll continue coming and going and coming and going, or some might be persistent. All of it's simply a process of clearing ourselves out of the debris we don't need to be carrying around. So stay with your breath, stay close to it. We're not gripping, we're not holding, we're just gently watching the breath, the rhythm of the breath, the mechanics of it, the nuance of it, the sensation of it. Stay with your breath. So the mind fluctuating and wandering, and that's all part of it. That's all perfect. There's nothing to worry about. All just as it should be. And when you become aware that the mind has wandered, you just come back. Come back to your inhalation. Come back to your exhalation. So, really comfortably, we're going to begin to deepen the breath again. But this time, the breath is almost in slow motion. If you can breathe through the nose, do that. If not, there's no problem. And it's just comfortably deeper inhalations, longer exhalations. So, no forcing. So, I'll say as deep as you can make it, but more importantly, it's really comfortable. So, not to the point where things are forced or strained, or just comfortable, deeper breaths. Slow, slow, slow. Every part of the breath has a uniformity to it, or a rhythm to it. It's all fluid, comfortable, slow, and steady. And as you continue to take these breaths, could you imagine you had nostrils in the center of your chest and you were actually breathing through those nostrils? So you're imagining the breath coming in through that space and exiting through that space. Slow, long, deep breaths. Slow, long, deep breaths. And then we'll let the breath simply come back to its natural rhythm, just breathing normally. And just for a moment, just to check in with yourself, just to notice how you're doing. And the truth is that we're never one thing, so often maybe we're with an overriding feeling of, oh, I'm not feeling this or I'm feeling that. And usually, really, when we check in deeply enough, there's a cacophony of experience or feeling going on. There can be an overriding joy or an overriding anxiety but usually it's all in there, and I notice even myself over the last while really acknowledging that feeling of the part that is challenged, the fear that I feel, and yet also acknowledging the part that's kind of going, it's okay. And I think these practices are a great way of us really feeding that part of us that kind of can align with this possibility of it's okay, it's okay. So let's bring our hands together in front of the heart. And then for a moment, if we were just to think of this idea of gratitude that we've been working with over the course of our meditations. Is it someone or something, or do you think of when you think of gratitude? Can you let that memory or that person be the catalyst to awaken that feeling in you, the feeling of gratitude? And maybe you don't need anything to access gratitude, but often we need something. And this is one of the ways in which we support and teach, heal, and help each other. And just tapping into that feeling of gratitude. And if it's not coming, I urge you to be patient. That it's just a muscle that sometimes it can take time to reactivate. And to ourselves and to each other this morning, we bow our heads. Beautiful. Okay. Good work. Okay. So I wish you a great day. And I hope you have some fun. Maybe it's been a while since there's been some fun. So blessings.